everyone. And it also affirms the statement that all are gifted, all are needed, all are treasured. And that is typically our message for this current time. And I would like to try and take you through and have an overview of the different kinds of needs that people could have, or the disabilities that we could be talking about in this case as at now. And before I left in the mornings, when someone cannot is either mentally impaired or they are not in a state to make proper judgments from the simplest description of that. The second one is hearing impairment. Someone could be, at some point they were born hearing, and then when they get older, the hearing becomes impaired. We also have some that are usually born without hearing abilities. And there is something that we call hidden disabilities. Hidden disabilities, these are a wide range of things that we could say about hidden disabilities. There are some people who have not explored. There are some things that they cannot do. There are some things that they'll need help to do. That's what we call hidden disability. It could mean that at some point someone ages and they are unable to do some things for themselves. We have mobility disability. This involves when someone is impaired to make motion. Let's say they were amputated their legs, or at some point they lost their legs due to circumstances and couldn't walk again. Mobility also could involve the lack of arms, because we are looking at both arms and feet. And the fifth is emotional and psychiatric disability. There's one of the things I looked at of late is called psychosis, a disconnection from reality. Someone is disconnected from reality. They cannot quickly assimilate themselves to the environment. They exhibit certain traits that show that they are emotionally they need some emotional support or some psychiatric support. We have communication disorder. This can range from autism all the way to different types of disorders that demand someone needs to be helped to communicate and things like that. We also have the last one, that is blindness and visual impairment, that someone can be born and due to a disease they cannot see, or they were born without the nerves to perceive optical light or light in general, and that's under blindness, or at some point they developed cataracts. All those kinds of things what we call now blindness and visual impairment. They're not supposed now to come to a point where we think it's only the people that are born that way that we call them that they are needful. We are all needful. We need certain things. And I know I earlier said, just to recap, that we need someone who can address these different kinds of needs that these people have. We could be talking about individuals going out of their way to attend to their needs, or as a church we are going out of our way to address their needs. And if I am just to rephrase what I said earlier, we have the deaf community and individuals who have experienced hearing loss, individuals who are blind or have limited vision, orphans and vulnerable children also fall in the category of those that we need to attend to. That is, I talked about the street kids, the foster kids in foster homes, in children's homes, immigrants, people that, let's say, for example, there's a time in Sudan when South Sudan, for the most part, people were leaving the country and getting to the neighboring country. Some came to to Kenya, some went to Uganda, Chad, Egypt. They were migrating from their country due to the terror that was happening. Such are also people that have needs. They don't have to be physically disabled as we are thinking of it, but they have to receive our immediate support. We have refugee children, refugee also, almost similar thing, and children who have their parents in jail. And there are some parents that left their children outside, and such also need our immediate attention. There are also some with individuals with physical mobility, health, and wellness challenges, generally, as was said earlier. Mental health and wellness challenges, those are also there. This includes mental disorders, of which mental disorders is a wide range of things that we could talk. Actually, there's a manual that usually talks about mental disorders, but I'll invite someone later on to try and talk about mental disorders and mental learning developmental challenges. She will try and talk something about that, because in our current society, that seems to be the most prevalent of the needs that people have. We have also autism in there. We have Down syndrome in there. The sixth path I said was people who have suffered losing their spouses. Say someone loses their husband, their wife, they become widows or widowers, and those who have experienced divorce, they have been abandoned, etc., and also the caregivers. And as a church, I want to touch on some few things. As a church, what is our place in APM? What can we do? That's the real question. What is it that we can implement? And there's something that I've seen best to also deliver here. That is what we call the 3 A's of APM. The 3 A's of APM. The 3 A's of APM. The first A is awareness. That's where we have a Sabbath dedicated to APM. Awareness. Awareness is the first thing that we have to bring into the conversation when we're talking about APM. People have to know. And spreading this awareness, it takes different efforts. We could, in the least, try to speak about it. On such a Sabbath, we have a conversation around it, raising awareness that this is in society. It does not mean that this alone is disability and this other thing is not disability. That's why in the morning, when I was sharing, I told you about the clutch in a vehicle. In a vehicle, a manual vehicle, for instance, if you're driving it, there's a clutch that you press with your left leg. And if you find it's a double clutch, you will have to stomp on it twice for you to disengage and engage another gear. In order to change gears, you press the first time, you disengage the previous gear. You press the second time, you engage the other gear. That's with a vehicle. And with the APM, what we want to do majorly is to disengage the previous gear. Disengage those thoughts where we're thinking that people with possibilities we've stereotyped them. We think of them, it's just the blind. No, it is a wide spectrum. People have different needs. And when we say that people have different needs, we all know that we also have individual needs. Tuna matamanio ya kikwetu ya kwamba tunatamani, for myself, I would be able to overcome this. I would be able to reach this. That's when awareness comes in through sharing of material that informs them. This is, say for example, this is autism. This is what it means to be autistic. This is the experience when you're autistic. Such that when we are having someone that has that kind of a need, we are not dissociating ourselves. Let's say if we are talking about schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a mental disorder whereby some of the characteristics seen is a strange mood swing that usually happens. And when we say we are witnessing that, we don't have to be in a position whereby we don't know what is happening. We are just guessing what could be happening. It should be that we are understanding the need that is being shown, and we can identify ourselves by sharing materials that try to describe different kinds of needs. If we get one that describes the mental types of needs and people get to read it, we are more aware with how to deal with such issues. The other thing that under awareness is we could also try to have a conversation with the community around us, because as a church, we could say we are trying to educate ourselves, but mostly you find that society does not know most of this. If we can involve ourselves to inform others about the possibilities ministry, how we can reach out to those guys, inform them how they can deal with such situations, also through the arm of the medical missionary or medical ministry, we can get to make several people aware. That's the first A, awareness. And the second A is acceptance. Acceptance. I'm talking about the 3 A's of APM. Acceptance. Acceptance is having your arms well spread to receive people from outside. It means that you are offering an enabling environment, Speaking of acceptance, I would like to give you a short parable concerning 2 churches. We have 2 churches that met, and they have a member who uses a wheelchair. And this particular 2 churches, one is a big church, the other is a small church. The big church has an elevator, ile yenye unasimama hivi, and then stairs zinakupandisha kwenda juu. And it also has its building imekuwa organized in sections, pews, ile yenye imepangwa hivi in an auditorium fashion. And the small church itself is considering to build a church. And I want us to see the approach so that we try and understand what acceptance is. Acceptance is trying to associate with the current need of this particular individual that is among you by creating an enabling environment. Say, the big church could choose, instead of having this kind of elevator, they could choose alternatively to have a lift. They could choose alternatively to have a ramp. They could choose alternatively that their church, it can be arranged or organized in a way that this individual with this particular special need gets to sit with their friends and family, creating an enabling environment in the big church. In the small church, they can also consider, they're thinking about building a church. Instead of building a church that is, say, three floors up or 2 floors up, they could choose to build a level ground church. A level ground church with which someone can access easily, most for this individual with these physical mobility challenges. They could choose to build a church that is able to contain them. That is what we call now acceptance. Trying to create an enabling environment, opening your arms. That yes, you can come and we don't have issues that can, keep you from staying out. Let us think about it more so while we are considering there are different kinds of needs that people have. While, say, for example, if it is someone that, for example, a parent that has an autistic child, we could choose to have a room that caters for them. It caters for the tantrums that might come due to that, or the challenges that might be faced due to that. Creating an environment, acceptance. That's what is the second A, acceptance. The third A is action. If there's something that we need even the more, is taking action. Taking action more so when it comes to individuals with these special needs. it is hurtful that you find in the streets out there several individuals with several special needs, and such individuals are not in the church. Because if we are to open a random statistic, let me just tell you about the statistic. In our church, this special needs within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and a survey was done prior to this month, March kwenda nyuma, and the survey that was done came out with certain results. They went out asking individuals, what disability could you be having, what special need could you be having, and this is the statistic, that 82% of members of our church have no disability, or none of that they are aware of. They have no disability. That's what they said. 6% have visual impairment. 3% have hearing impairment. 2%, listen to this, 2% has mobility challenges, mobility disability. 2% has cognitive disability, which falls under the intellectual kind of disability. 1% is of the deaf. 1% speaking issues. They cannot communicate. They have communication disorder. 3% other disability. But it is hurtful that we could have such a small percentage of people having these kinds of challenges. Yet there are many of them out there. If we can create enabling environments for them, we would be better suited to take action, more so when it comes to individuals with disabilities or individuals with special needs for that matter. So consider that the 3 A's, just to recap on them. The first one is awareness. Thank you. The second, acceptance. The third, action. Awareness, acceptance, and action. That's how best we create an enabling environment for them. We raise awareness. If we can't reach out to them, we can raise awareness to the immediate community to know that these particular kinds of challenges are there and we can come through. That's just bypassing on the subject of how we can accommodate individuals with special needs. And just to also reiterate from God's word, I earlier said about the involvement of individuals with special needs, individuals with these different kinds of challenges that we have said. There is a place they have for mission in our church. There's a place they have to be used in God's work. Just to reiterate. And the second thing, not only having their place, there's a place that they have to be actively involved in church activity. Actively involved in the different kinds of things that we have around. And I would like to invite Faith to please come up front to join me. She will be talking about emotional and psychiatric disability. She'll try and talk about the different kinds of challenges, more so when it comes to the mental space, because while we're out there, I heard someone say that if there's a problem that is notable in this current time, is the need that is there in terms of mental needs. So I'll invite her. She'll talk briefly about that, and then we waterfall to something else.
Praise God, church. Happy Sabbath. Happy day. My name is Faith, and I'm here to tell us briefly on um, mental health, uh, especially the need for mental health awareness as a church, because we realize that in such a time as this, uh, as a church, there is need for us to embrace the mental health well-being, because it is all over in the news. Um, Many people are um taking away their lives, and when the statistics, when we go the research way, we get to know that, to realize that most people, and especially even from our faith, the Adventists, are um, dying, succumbing to these um, these mental disorders, or rather illness. And it is of essence that as a church we need to know the difference, or rather the different types of these disorders, so that in a scenario whereby our members, or rather our family members or friends, experience similar, like uh, uh, maybe symptoms of certain uh, mental disorders, you can be able to offer some appropriate interventions. And and so we have a broad spectrum of these disorders. There are many, but I'll just mention but a few. You know, we have neurodevelopmental disorders. Yeah, the one my friend was talking about, the intellectual development disorders. And thank you for mentioning about that. We have communication disorders. We have, of course, autism spectrum disorders. We have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. So this ADHD, uh, you get um, to get some, like, to notice in a child. This child is more is very hyper. Yeah, this child, uh, okay, in layman's language, huyu mtoto atulii, ako tu hapa, anatoka hapa anaenda pale, like this child is hyperactive, and so that is the name attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Of course, we have specific learning disorders. Um, we have motor disorders. We have neurodevelopmental disorders, and schizophrenia spectrum, and other psychotic disorders. Of course, we have bipolar, and we have depressive disorders, like the major depressive disorders. Uh, we have recurrent episodes. We have mild episodes. We have uh, clinical depression. We have anxiety disorders, and these anxiety disorders, to be maybe to touch on it, uh, anxiety disorders. We have generalized anxiety disorder, whereby someone becomes very anxious, and it can get very, uh, it can be extreme. It can go to extremes, yeah? Because someone is like someone. I'm lacking a better word, but I'll get there. We have OCD. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. We have trauma and maybe stress related disorders. We have PTSD, post post-traumatic stress disorders. So in this, you get to someone experiences a very traumatic experience in their lives, and now the stress that comes after this stress, this experience is what we call post-traumatic stress disorder, and if not well dealt with, it can lead to major problems as mental health is concerned. And so it is of prudent uh, note that we need to, when you realize that someone has gone through a very traumatizing experience, if as a person, because this person, for instance, your friend, you need to just be there for them. And of course, if things get out of control, just refer them to the professionals so that they can get help. These post-traumatic episodes can be like experiences, can be like maybe someone has been involved in a very fatal accident, and then this person lost everything, so including the family and all that. So this person is very traumatized, and you realize that this person is losing interest in whatever they used to like. This person is um, always wanting to be alone. This person is locking themselves up in their rooms, and many other things that are evident. And so, as as now a member, maybe this person might be a member of the church, and now as uh, a fellow Christian, you need to take up this responsibility of ensuring that this person gets the correct, or rather the correct channels for their medication, because they can be worse. This person can be, this can lead even to having suicidal ideations that will lead this person even die by suicide. Of course, we have dissociative disorders. Uh, we have feeding and eating disorders. Yeah, we have people who have eating disorders. Yeah, for instance, binge eating. Binge eating, someone who never gets satisfied. Someone who is eat like on a continuous process of eating. Whatever they get, they usually eat. They don't have a break. Any time is meal time. So we have such like we have um, bulimia nervosa um, as a eating disorder. Bulimia nervosa. I think it's where someone they eat, but they don't want to gain weight. So they eat, they go and they throw up. Yeah, they vomit because they want to get it. And this happens mostly to ladies. Yeah, that tendency of just wanting to be fit. But you're eating. I feel like now that you're eating, you're going to gain weight that you don't want. So you go, you eat, you go and throw up. You go, you know. Yeah, and then we have sleep wake disorders. Yeah, like insomnia, whereby you don't you lack sleep, and then we have hypersomnia, whereby you sleep too much, excessive. Yeah, and this insomnia, for instance, is it can be a symptom of someone who is going through a mental disorder. Yeah, someone maybe who is depressed, and so insomnia is linked with depression. Um, and so if you realize that your friend or anyone who is related to you is experiencing such life, because their sleep patterns are kind of getting distorted in one way or another, just be there for these people. Yeah, that is now giving them the social support we want, and also refer them when maybe the cases worsen. refer them to some professional. Yeah, we have psychologists. We can refer them to a psychiatric hospital. Yeah, in our country, we have one, a nice one, Madari National Teaching and Referral Hospital. Yeah, it handles such like cases. Uh, we have breathing related sleep disorders. Yeah. Um, mm, yeah, we have many disorders, in fact, because we have gender dysphoria, we have sexual dysfunctions, uh, we have, we go to the substance related and addictive disorders. Yeah, we have alcohol use disorders, we have drug induced psychosis, we have cannabis induced psychosis, among others. So, uh, uh, one thing with alcohol, it has this thing called tolerance levels. So when for instance today ulienda ukajaribu ukakunywa na soda, so tomorrow and it gave you the highness thing, the high thing, and so tomorrow you will be forced maybe to take a bigger amount, and then maybe tomorrow you will be forced maybe to say acha nikunywe hivyo nisiweka hii soda, and after that itaendelea hivyo. So tolerance, that is the tolerance in alcohol. Like the amount you're using today to make you high is not the amount you're going to use tomorrow to make you high. Like yes. Um, and so it continues to a point whereby someone wanaitanga mzinga sana maliza yote ama mzinga sijui ngapi for this person to just have that feeling, the high, quote unquote, yeah, to make him feel good or better. And so as a person, yeah, this is from indulging in alcohol related drinks. Yes, because you will fall for tolerance. And again, as my friend clearly stated that awareness should be the key. So as a person, as a member, as an individual, you need to be aware that these things really exist, these mental disorders. People are suffering from bipolar. People are suffering from schizophrenia. People are suffering from addiction-related disorders. People are suffering from these alcohol use disorders. And when you will be fully aware of this, now it will require you to just go there and at least tell these people that, you know what, now that I've known what alcohol can do to someone, because it can cause liver cirrhosis, yeah, and so if now that you know this, as a person, take it upon yourself as an initiative to just go and preach this gospel, because we need to bring many people into the fold. Let not many people die. Just let them not die in their iniquities. Yeah, at least let them die having at least made their ways with the Lord. Because now when they die, when someone dies and this person was a drug addict, you don't even know the right approach to use when maybe you're comforting the bereaved family. You even lack words to say, because you think like may they hope for the resurrection morning, boy, you speak up how, and this person, surely he didn't make his ways right with the Lord, and there is nothing like that hope connection morning to this person, you know. And again, acceptance. You know, mental health is uh, a wide field, and we need to explore a lot. We need to learn a lot in this, and so and mental health. Anyone can get any mental disorder, and so uh, and the thing that will keep someone now, if for instance someone got was diagnosed with maybe bipolar, and you know the key to this person getting um, better, yeah, something that will accelerate the rate at which this person gets better is first you accept, yeah, acceptance. That for sure this has happened to me. Now as a person, I'm the one now to embrace the treatment plans and strategies for me to get better, because you're going to be staying in denial for quite so long, because you'll be in denial and then the psychiatrist and the psychologist will be doing nothing on you, because you're like, I'm not sick, but for sure you're sick, but you're like, I'm not sick. So acceptance. If you're depressed, accept that, yeah, this has happened, so I need to move forward. Yeah, don't stagnate in one thing. And and um, our okay, whatever we consume in terms of mind wise, it can really do as good or bad. And so as a person, be very cautious of what you listen to, what you read, and what you interact with in your day-to-day activities, because uh, because all these things that resonate around your day-to-day activities are the things that will mount up to you being diagnosed of some mental disorder. So guard your thoughts, guard your body, because it is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Um, Maybe a final thing before it hits down is they need to seek, yes, they need to seek assistance, seek help, yes, seek help, because there is too much stigma in our society. One, a lot is going, no, there is this stereotype of people having some disorders, and then if someone, for instance, is sick and mentally, and maybe you as a friend unamwambia, you can go to, you know, I can maybe offer to take you to a psychiatric to seek medical attention. You know, the society has taught us that these people were fear to is the term, yeah. So when you go to maybe as a hospital, like for instance, this hospital that is well known in our country, you know, they'll be judging. were maybe diagnosed with a mental disorder. Yeah, so thank you so much. I would like to welcome my friend to take over.
Thank you so much for taking us through emotional and psychiatric disability. And as I was such, there's a certain statistic that I wanted to give earlier. In our world currently, there are 1.3 billion individuals with special needs. That, to put it into perspective, 1 in every 6 individuals has a special need. Also in the line of these special needs that we've stated from up front, that 1 in every 6 has a special need, one of a kind, or is differently abled. And if I'm just to take you through another one, the number of children with special needs globally is about 240 million children. And children are majorly the ones that are on the receiving end in terms of having so many needs when it comes to special needs ministry. Children with disabilities face multiple challenges in realizing their rights because they are young, because they do not have the right access to education, to even reading from home. They do not have that. They are less likely to be included or heard on almost every measure. Proceeds on. Compared to children without disabilities, children with disabilities are, listen to this, that when we put the children that do not have this special needs and the children that have these special needs, 24% less likely. The children with special needs are 24% less likely to receive early stimulation and responsive care. Less likely. Children with special needs are 42% less likely to have foundational reading and numerical skills. 25% more likely to be wasted, and 34% more likely to be stunted in terms of growth. They are 53% more likely to have symptoms of acute respiratory infections. They are 49% more likely to have never attended school, almost halfway. They are 47% more likely to be out of primary school, 33% more likely out of secondary school, and 27% more likely out of college. 51% more likely to feel unhappy, 41% more likely to feel discriminated against, 32% more likely to experience severe corporal punishment. Severe corporal punishment. That we can note it as it stands, many of the individuals that we are accounting for as individuals with special needs, children are far more affected. Far more affected. They are on the receiving end, kweli. And that even points us to who we should be looking at the more. With such a statistic, we should see a greater vigilance in terms of trying to look after and look for the children. In a particular US statistic, they said that 6.1% of adults are deaf or have serious difficulty hearing. 4.8% of adults have vision disability with blindness or serious difficulty seeing even when wearing glasses. 3.6% of adults have a self-care disability with difficulty in dressing, with difficulty in bathing, with difficulty with eating. 3.6%. You know that these challenges or these types of needs that we are bringing in are not just affecting a small number of individuals. It's affecting a huge number of individuals. If you go to other countries, you'll find that it even gets higher. And the first statistic I told you about 1.3 billion, that is individuals with special needs in these particular parts. But it is estimated that about half 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 of the world population, almost half the world population, has some form of disability in one way, and 15% have disabilities or have special needs in these particular ones that we've said as we started on earlier. That shows that we should be more keen to notice these things, more so in our relatives, in our friends, and be able to attend to them. And one of the questions that we need to ask, some of the questions we need to ask, how can we normalize conversations that are around special needs? How can we make them that we are not afraid to talk about them? We are not afraid to bring them on board. We are not afraid to involve them in not only church issues, but also in matters in the society, such as decision making, all those types of things. Normalize conversations by acknowledging that people with disabilities have unique abilities and ways of doing things. We need to recognize that, yes, someone cannot walk, but this person can become a chief. This person can make decisions in a board for us. This person can stand and represent us. It is not that we can acknowledge them in church, whereas in society we do not defend them. We have to defend them all the circle round. How should we answer questions related to disabilities? The thing that we ought to do, encourage curiosity. Address questions openly. Avoid brushing off challenging or offensive questions. It may seem offensive, but don't brush such questions. Encourage curiosity so that people can talk about it. The other question, what is the key to interacting with kindness? The other question, because when you're talking about special needs, you have to be kind and compassionate, as we said in the morning. You have to prioritize kindness and empathy towards individuals with special needs. Lazima ujifunze kuwa tukarimu towards individuals with special needs. Treat everyone with respect and understanding in general sense. How can we avoid focusing on the differences that you're suffering from this, or you're like this? How can we avoid settling on differences? Remove the focus from the differences that we have. You cannot do this, I can do this, or you cannot do this, all these types of things. Remove the focus from such differences and bring in things that we share in common. We are of the same faith, one body, one Christ, one Lord, one baptism. All that is said in Ephesians 4. We bring in the common interest, the common experiences that we share. Highlight that people with disabilities enjoy many of the same things as others. Highlight that many of these individuals experience the good things as well, that they are in the body of Christ. When Christ says he has his body, he includes everyone. And the last and final thing, how can we educate most of our children? Because, it so happens I went to my aunt's place, and on the television there was someone that was in a wheelchair. And the child alishtuka sana, and it took like an hour of explaining to her what she is seeing, And the question even in this time, how can we educate our children? The thing that we should do most for the children's age, keep communication open. Keep communication open so they feel comfortable asking questions, sharing their thoughts. Also when they say meet someone with, say for example, one of the questions that I've seen a child asked one of the blind, and akamuuliza, what do you see? That stems from curiosity. The child is really asking. Do not break that kind of curiosity in the child. Try and answer, address them, adapt a conversation that is suiting the age of the child. We'll see. Don't brush it off, because when they later learn, they may learn in different and ways that you wouldn't be pleased. Be open for conversation. Explain to them. try in the words that fits them to understand. Otherwise, the last thing that I want us to look at, and still I'll engage faith, you could be that you have no special need as at now. But it so happens that as we live, we are aging. As we live, we are aging. Sometime in the future, you might get to understand, and when God was saying, honor your father and your mother, you are the father and the mother. You're not just the child at that commandment. You are the father and the mother. You need that kind of support. Because when God said, in that particular text, in should be verse 14 or 13, I guess should be 13 or 12 of Exodus 20. When God said, honor your father and your mother, and then gave the promise later on, God knew that this society will need sustainability. There'll be needs that the aged will require to be met by the young. At some point, he knew that the one who is young will get old and will require people to take care of them. And the one that is old should have taken care of the ones that have already passed on or are older. So when God brought such a law to sustain humanity in a community-based setting, he knew that at some point there are needs that the older individuals need to be met by the younger. At some point we'll get to be older. At some point as we move, we find that there are some underlying issues that we never got to see. And I know there are several individuals that faith has interacted with, more so in the line of disorders such as the bipolar, all those kinds of things. And there are certain experiences that they could be having. They never knew that they'll, at one point, suffer from such a mental illness. They never knew that it gets to a point where my legs stop to work. It gets to a point where my eyes cannot see anymore. As the book of Ecclesiastes says, that it gets to a point whereby you cannot do some things. When you wake up, you feel your body is cranking. You feel like you're facing the age is coming after you. So I'd like to invite Faith for the last time to give us some few experiences, more so when it comes to this thought that at some point you might find yourself in these situations. What are some of the things that could lead to find yourself probably suffering from some of the illnesses, more so that specifically pegged on emotional and psychiatric disability? Because I wish we could have someone that has a special needs to share some of their experiences in terms of people being compassionate, in terms of people coming through and such kinds of things. But Faith will share in and try to open our minds that we might think special needs is for someone else, but at some point you might be the one having these special needs in need of society to help you, in need of the younger guys to help you, because there are diseases such as dementia, there's Alzheimer's, all this that meets the aged. And how best can we, knowing that this is there, how can we keep society or maintain society to still accommodate such? You're welcome, Faith.
Thank you so much. I'm going to touch on, before we go further, maybe a clarity on what I mentioned earlier about the eating disorders. So we have bulimia nervosa, that is excessive eating, and like the way I said, it is the opposite of what I said. That is, yeah. So it is eating disorder, excessive eating, binge eating, and maybe some few things you need to know before I go to whatever I've been assigned to do. About bulimia nervosa, it is eating disorder that is affecting most people. Yeah, that is excessive eating, too much eating. Yeah. So the victims habitually they engage in episodes of uncontrollable eating. Yeah, eating the binge eating, as I have told you. So they try to undo the episodes on their binges, either by forcing themselves to vomit afterward, by taking laxatives or diuretics. These are drugs. Yeah, or by exercising frantically or by fasting severally, but they always tend to waterfall back to where they were. And so, according to the DSM-5, DSM-5 is a diagnostic statistic manual for mental disorders. Yeah, those people in the psychiatric and psychology fields they understand better of such like book. It's a manual for these mental disorders and their treatment and all that. And so, for one to know that you are experiencing a binge episode of disorder, you have recurrent episodes of binge eating, averaging to maybe at least 2 episodes a week for 3 months or more. Again, a feeling of lack of control over eating behavior during the eating binges. Yeah, if you eat, just eat too much. Yeah, chakula ikiisha ndo wewe unaacha. But huwezi control. So, and habitual resort to self-induced vomiting and use of laxatives or diuretics, strict dieting or fasting or rigorous exercise in order to prevent weight gain, and persistent over-concern with body shape and weight. And so it's the treatment for this, you need to seek something that is called individual insight therapy. Yeah. I don't want to go more into the psychiatric field, but basically, this individual insight therapy it is a psychodynamic and a cognitive approaches that have been used to be the most forms of the individuals dealing or suffering from binge eating. Yeah. And, and so you can seek help, by the way, from professionals. They will help you on how to curb that habit, because sometimes it gets tough, especially when it comes to eating. People are not um, temperate. Yeah, and we taught to be temperate in all things. And so when it comes to eating is where we draw the line. Being temperate. And so we need to at least, yeah. And then of course there is group therapies whereby you meet individuals maybe experiencing the same, and then get to share your own stories, and from there get to maybe um, um, get a training ground, yeah, where these ulimic clients get to overcome in one way or another these things. And then behavioral therapy, it is focuses on more of your behaviors, yeah, and these especially this eating behavior, yeah, and on how the steps you are expected to take for you to overcome these. Uh, and of course, there are medications that can help in in conjunction with the therapy session. And of course, we have another one, the one I was telling you about, the anorexia nervosa. Yeah. So the one that is more of the extreme, it is a particular disease occurring mainly in women. Yeah, and it is characterized by extreme emaciation. Emaciation in this point, I mean thinness. Yeah, and then nervous loss of appetite. Maybe they e.g. they deny themselves but small quantities of food even when they have the appetite. Yeah, like yourself starvation. And of course, low body weight and loss of body weight, and intense fear of becoming obese, and intense fear of fattening food. And it is characterized by also disturbances in the menstrual cycle. Ladies miss easy missing up to 3 consecutive cycles even when they are not pregnant. Uh, Again, another characteristic of this disorder is many vomit after they have eaten. Yeah, they abuse laxatives or they take drugs in a bid to bring down their weight. Yeah, you eat, but you take those drugs that will make you to vomit. Yeah, and they are emotionally disturbed and they are anxious and depressed. And they experience feelings of insecurity, loneliness, guilt, inadequacy, and helplessness. And even few of these emaciated ladies, these who self-starve themselves, they have few of them have thoughts of um, being in romantic relationships or sexual relationships, and they suffer from delusions that they may be too fat. This is a disorder that you bring into yourself. So this is a disorder that breeds into another disorder. Yeah, and of course they withdraw from family and friends, um, and they due to the constant nagging about their eating habits. So that is why they withdraw, because when you are in a family setup and you tend to just don't eat, someone will just tell, why are you not eating? I mean, why are you eating so little? So they tend to withdraw. Um, and so of course the causes are somewhat biological. Yeah. Uh, for instance, the disturbances in the neurotransmitters within our brain, example the serotonin, they may lead to this disorder called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and the related behaviors. Of course, now this is a related disorder, yes, behavior disorder of OCD, and maybe cultural ideals. Maybe in your culture, that is what you do because you don't want to gain weight, especially yes, you don't want to maybe break the culture, um, and all that. And so the treatment is use behavioral methods. Yeah, you set a target on your weight gain through the use of a reward system. Yeah. And then you seek medical attention, whereby the professional will use uh, something called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, to just uh, uh, lead you through programs that are aimed at promoting the autonomy of self-liking and reasonable eating habits and all that. And of course, drugs like antidepressants and tranquilizers will be effective for that matter. And so that is what I wanted to seek clarity on. And so I'm going to speak on stress and health, and of course I touch on depression, and finally the attachment styles before we just wrap it up. So stress and health. So what is stress? Question to the congregation. What is stress? What is your understanding on stress? Any trial? Anyone? Yes, thank you so much. Just as he has said, so it is a process by which we perceive and respond to certain events. Yeah, they are called stressors that we appraise as threatening or challenging. And so, as he has just said, and so stress, um, it is not just a stimulus, but again, it is or a response, yeah, rather, but it is the process by which we appraise, yeah, after praising and cope with the environmental threats that come our ways and challenges, of course. And so, different people have different coping mechanisms when it comes to handling stress. Yeah, there's someone who is stressed kwake anaiandalia kitu kidogo, and someone who gets stressed so much. Yeah? When someone who feels to cope with stress and the daily stresses, and and so our stress response system, it varies from an individual to another, and so you need to know your coping mechanisms as a person and the best coping mechanisms that work for you and go for them, because my coping mechanism to stress can differ from his coping um, mechanism. And so, of course, causes of stress, they can be stressful life events. And so, how stressed we are, it depends on how we appraise events, yeah, how we react to events. And so, um, we have three types of stressors. We have catastrophic stresses, we have significant life changes and daily hassles. And so the catastrophes, they are unpredictable. For instance, the way I told you, when maybe someone gets involved in a very fatal road accident and then they lose their family members, all of them, and maybe this person survives. And so this is a catastrophic. It wasn't foreseen. And so this person ends up getting a PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder. And so, as I've told you, these stressors, they are catastrophic because they are not foreseen. Uh, they include, for instance, wars, the natural disasters that happen, maybe fires, maybe um, in other countries, yeah, maybe the hurricanes come and then they kill maybe everyone, and then your house is just demolished like that, and then you just left there. You never foresaw this earthquakes, flood, etc. And then etc. And then the significant life changes. Of course, the significant life changes like marriage, yeah, the death of a loved one, the loss of a job, a divorce. So those are the significant life changes that uh, cause stress. And the daily hassles, yeah, the day-to-day events, the activities, yeah, the annoyances of every day-to-day, uh, the rush hour in traffic, you know, and the cuts. So those are in school, the exams, the assignments. So those are the day-to-day uh, hassles that cause stress. And then, so the cognitive symptoms of this stress, they include memory problems. Someone has an ability to concentrate. We have they are experiencing poor judgment just because of stress, seeing only the negative parts of life, the anxious, and they have racing thoughts here and there, and then they have constant worrying. Yeah, about what tomorrow holds. And the Bible tells us we should not be anxious of tomorrow. But this person who is stressed free, he experiences this. And then emotional symptoms. These people tend to be moody. Their moodiness, irritability, or short term. They have short tempers. Yeah, they have agitation. Yeah, their inability to relax. Yeah, they agitate a lot. And then feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, someone does something small and then they feel like I'm very tired. This person is stressed, and so you need to, as a person, as a friend to this person, or as a good Samaritan, just be there for these people, and of course, uh, help them seek uh, medical help. And then they have depression or general unhappiness. Is someone who is a people person, but now that they're going through stress, they are just unhappy. Nothing seems to make them happy. They just and then the physical symptoms, yeah, or behavioral symptoms, they include the aches and pains. So someone is unachoka tu, unaumwa tu, diarrhea and constipation, and people experience dizziness, chest pains, or rapid heartbeat, and then they have frequent colds, and then of course loss of sex drive for the married people. Um, and then behavioral ones. So people tend to eat more or less. And again, as I told you, of the Bilima Navosa and the Notion Navosa, due to stress, these things lead people to stress, can lead people to binge eat or to undereat, to self-starve. And so the health ways to relax or change, to recharge is maybe take a walk. If you're going through stress, take a walk. Spend time in nature. That can be a good remedy. Maybe call a friend. Talk to your friends about these things. Just have a sweat out workout. Yeah? Tension to ease things out. If you enjoy working out, just go for that thing. Write your journal. Yeah? You can have a book, small book, where you can be journaling down everything that happens in your day-to-day life. And for those who love pets, you can just play with it and and all that. And so, because extreme stress can lead to many other mental related disorders. It's because the long-term exposure to stress, it can lead to serious health problems such as chronic stress. Yeah, that this chronic stress disrupts everything of your body, and this chronic stress, now when stress it escalates to being chronic, it diminishes our ability to enjoy life and accomplish our goals and maintain healthy relationships, all of which it can affect our emotional well-being. And so you need to be very intentional about your mental health well-being as a person. Yeah, and of course you can go, and if you're experiencing stress of these things that I've told you, the ways to relax and recharge, you can go and look for whatever that works out for you, as long as it reduces the tension or the stress in your life. And of course, depression. Who knows about depression? What is depression? Anyone? Any idea? So, depression, it is a common mental health problem. Yeah, it is affecting many people out there, and so it is a condition that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and the changes in how you think, so, of course, we have different types of depression, and of course, it is treatable. That is good news. Yeah, and so the medication of it involves seeking medication um, from the professionals. Yeah, and the good thing of no, I'm emphasizing on seeking medication from professional because one thing this person is not going to judge you. Yeah, a professional is not going to judge you and all that. So seek medication and like maybe someone who is not well conversant in that field, someone who is not a therapist or a psychiatrist who will judge you, you know. But um, a professional will not judge you that kwani wewe uko na stress, kwani wewe ni well, there is this analogy of men, kwani wewe ni mwanamke, uko na depression kwa nini? Wewe ni mwanamke. Yeah, but a professional will never judge you. These people are there for you, and that is what they have majored in, and so you can feel free to reach out to them. There are many counselors out there, many psychologists out there, ready to help you make uh, make a U-turn of your life when you feel like you hit a rock bottom of your life. And so, depression is a disorder, and it has a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest in things or activities you once enjoyed. Yeah, and of course, it causes difficulty in thinking, eating, and sleeping. And so, of course, you need not to confuse depression with these normal things, the normal sadness you feel like when your day is not good. I mean, it is not good, and you're not happy about that. But depression now, it is a persistent. So that's why I've said it's a persistent. Yes, yeah, a persistent sadness or loss of interest of things you used to do. And of course, the several types of depressive disorders. We have the clinical depression one. We have this clinical one. It has a major depressive disorder, MDD, the way I told you. And this one is the one usually called depression, or the most severe type. Yes, major depressive disorder. So it is more of these things. What they call it. These bad thoughts, the thoughts, intrusive thoughts that you don't want to think of, but they keep on coming back and haunting you, and then to a point of you losing interest in things you used to love. Yeah, you tend to oversleep, you tend to undersleep, you tend to lock yourself in a room, you tend to cut ties with friends, and many other. Yeah, your eating habits they shift drastically. Yeah, and all that. So this is the major depressive disorder, and you need to seek when now you realize that things are getting out of hold. You need to seek medication, and um, because if you don't seek medication, again it can escalate something else, and um, and it can lead someone even killing themselves. And so, just seek help early enough. Yes, don't wait until it is too late for you to seek help. Uh, and of course, we have these other kinds of depression that is called prenatal depression or postpartum depression. Yeah, it happens in ladies, yeah, during pregnancy. So, uh, it this postpartum depression, yeah, it develops within the 4 weeks of delivering a baby. So it is one again in the same class of um, mood reactivity. Someone is so low, and it is the main difference is a temporary mood improvement or decline, and someone needs to seek attention, medical attention, because if now the mother is not well, how is she going to raise these kids? And so if your that is your wife as a husband, you need to be there for your wife and just help her seek medication early enough, because postpartum depression has led to many young mothers or mothers, yeah, dying. Um, and of course, someone can ask what causes depression. For one, depression is caused by the way I told you earlier, stressful life events, yeah, the difficult experiences, the ones we mentioned, and then the brain chemistry, an imbalance of the neurotransmitters, including the serotonin and the dopamine. It contributes to the development of depression. Um, of course, the medical conditions. If someone is going through a chronic pain and maybe chronic conditions like diabetes, it can lead to depression. And the medication. You know, some medication can cause someone to go through depression. Yeah, and side effects. Yeah, and of course, substance use disorders, including alcohol and such like, they can um, lead someone to have depression. And so treatment involves, of course, we are told you to seek uh, attention, medical attention from a professional. You have psychotherapy, you have medication. Uh, therapy sessions are mainly you have psychotherapy, brain stimulation therapy, and getting regular exercises. Uh, and so, preventing the depression, you need to know, you need to maintain a healthy sleep routine. You don't have irregular sleep patterns. They can make you to get stressed. Uh, and then practicing regular self-care. The self-care things, the self care varies from one person to another. If your self care routine is different from mine, maybe your self care is just going out in the woods, going out for a nature walk or something of the sort. But mine is maybe staying indoors and doing something constructive. And so, whatever that works out for you, do it. Uh, and so, without treatment, depression becomes very worse. And so again, as I have emphasized, you need to seek medication. And so we need to note that depression is a common condition, yeah, that affects millions of people every year. And so anyone can experience depression. That is for a fact. And the good news we have is that depression is treatable. So if you have symptoms of depression, just talk to a healthcare provider. And the sooner you get help, the sooner you can feel better. The sooner we can reduce the numbers of people who are dying uh, due to, by suicide, because sometimes it can get out of hold. Uh, and so these mental health issues, they resonate around the attachment styles. Yeah, attachment styles that someone maybe has or they had when they were young. Yeah, and so as human beings, we learn to attach or connect to one another through their relationships within their parents, for one, and of course, the babies, watoto wadogo, they have their needs met, likely. Sorry. the babies, I was giving a scenario, the young babies who, for instance, had their um, needs met by their parents, they are most likely to develop a secure attachment style. Yeah, and so and again, the type of the personality you develop, maybe it can determine a great deal about your life. And so people develop many attachment styles. For instance, the fearful avoidance attachment style. Uh, that this fearful avoidance, it is more of a constant desire for closeness. So you realize as a parent, if you were never there for your child when they were growing up, so that affected them in their early years of childhood. So when they will get older, when maybe it will be hard for them to make connections with people in their social circles because they'll be craving, yeah, craving for the closeness that they never got from you. And so it will make, this child now, when they will be interacting with people, they'll be seeking for something that they never got from you. And so, as a parent, you need to be there for your child emotionally and all that. Emotionally, be there for your child. Don't be an emotional absent parent because this thing is going to affect your child as they will grow up. Yeah, they will have attachment styles like the insecure one, the fearful avoidant one. This person is, they are craving for closeness, but again, this person will experience a very hard time when it comes to connections with even the opposite gender. And so, learn to be there for your children, and so that they cannot be craving for something they never experienced in their childhood, and you from someone else, and you could be there for them during that time. And so, um, um, hmm, yeah. So, yeah, and then be open when to your kids. Uh, be open for them so that they can be able to open up about whatever they're going through. Because nowadays it is more of work, 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 and you take your kids at a very tender age to these boarding schools, and then it is the kid and the teacher. So this kid, from very early age, this kid went to goes to boarding school, and then you just meet this kid from you meet them when they close school, and then they go. These 2 months when they come home, you are at work, yeah, and when now you're at home, you're at school, and so it causes a problem when it comes to being even open with your kids. You can't get to know what is happening from their end. So we want to raise godly children who are well balanced mentally, physically, spiritually, and psychologically. So be there to your kids. Teach them in God's ways that they can improve in stature, to gain favor before men and, of course, before God. So thank you so much for your attention and listening to me.
I'm sure we have learned a lot. And there's someone I met outside. He was called Ian. I don't know kama ako hapa ndani, sidhani, sijamuona. Let us rise for a prayer. Let us rise for a prayer. Our loving and benevolent Father, we thank you for the sharing that has been done from this pulpit. And as we get to embark on our week's duties, I pray that we have a change of heart on how we approach special needs and individuals with special needs. I pray that we may learn to create more awareness, to accept, and also to take action when it comes to possibilities ministry. And above all else, when your kingdom comes, I pray that each one of us